You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here is your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
Well, good Monday morning, everybody. I am Glenn the Geek in Ocala, Florida.
And I'm Jamie Jennings in Norman, Oklahoma. You're listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for Monday, November 6th, episode 3300. We made it.
They're off in the dirt mile. Cody's Wish came out fine. Skippy Longstocking sent hard for the front. National Treasure 2. And Zozos is not going to go with them. He'll sit back and run in third position. Then comes Cheryl's Bee to the outside. Charging is next. Stage Raider. And Cody's Wish at the back of the pack. His normal running style. And the pace is fast in front of him as National Treasure had to work hard to get to the front. And he leads the way over Skippy Longstocking through an opening quarter mile in 22.51 seconds. They're motoring right along. Long shot Cheryl's Bee charges. Zozos fifth up the backstretch, 5 lengths off the lead, 5 ahead of Cody's Wish, and last of them all is Stage Raider. National Treasure, the Preakness winner in front, 3/4 of a length over Skippy Longstocking in second as they complete this first half mile up the backstretch in 46.02 seconds. And then it's Cheryl's Bee in third. Zozos fourth down on the inside. Cody's Wish is coming now. He's beginning to move. He just moved off the long side of Zozos. He just went by Chargent. He's fourth. And Junior Alvarado and Cody's Wish are on the move as they round the far turn. National Treasure has a 2-length lead here. Skippy Longstocking is second. Cody's Wish has made his way up into third. And they're into the stretch. And it's National Treasure still there. Cody's Wish in between horses. Now up into second. On the outside, it's Skippy Longstocking. Here comes Cody's Wish alongside of National Treasure. Cody's Wish takes the lead. Cody's Wish and National Treasure coming down to the line. Fighting back National Treasure. Oh, Cody's Wish. Cody's Wish. I think he won it by a nose on the wire.
Woo! God, that doesn't give you goosebumps. Man, he's so good. He's so good. Larry Coleman is the caller.
He is. We need to get him back on if we ever can. He's too important now.
He's a big deal now. What a dramatic finish to such a beautiful story of a horse and a human, and just wonderful that he won. I was so excited that he won and is now going into retirement and going to have like this most amazing life. But for those who don't know, Cody's Wish was named because of a teenager who wasn't a teenager at the time, I don't think, Cody Dorman. He's got a rare genetic disorder, is in a wheelchair, and he got to go meet this weanling. Or was he a yearling? Maybe
he's a foal. Yeah, he's pretty young. Yeah,
and he was in the wheelchair, and this foal came over and put his head in the boy's lap in the wheelchair, and they ended up naming him Cody's Wish. And Cody's Wish has been a baller. I mean, ridiculously fantastic racehorse. Has won over like $3 million. Won this year's dirt mile, last year's dirt mile, has won tons of stakes races and just been amazing. The Metropolitan, he won the dirt mile last year, the Forgo Stakes, the Westchester Stakes. It's just been amazing. So what a cool story, and great to see. I swear horses read intention, and he just read Cody when he was a kid. It's just beautiful.
Of all the races over the weekend at the Breeders' Cup, this is the one that just stood out to me. It was the one you wanted to cry over, Yeah.
Oh.
It's such a cool story, and what a way to end for Cody, too, to end, for Cody's Wish to end on a win, and also for Cody to have his horse end on a win. And
it was dramatic because there was an inquiry,
there was
like drama, and I just loved that Cody was sitting in the winner's circle in his wheelchair the whole time, like just waiting, like he's going to come in.
What you couldn't see in the video is this horse was 5-6 lengths back. Cody's Wish was 5-6 lengths back, and was completely covered in mud. But National Treasure was completely clean because National Treasure was in the lead. It's always weird when you see the horse that doesn't have a drop of mud on him, and then you see the one coming up from behind. It's a wonder they can even see. And this horse and then what happened though? They had the whole track, and for those that didn't see the video, Cody's Wish came up right beside National Treasure, and that's where they claim the bumping happened, is toward the finish line. They were right on each other. I don't know why it didn't go a little wider, but in any case, they took a look at it and decided that nobody beat anybody up, and we were fine. And if there was bumping, it was in the normal course of racing. So that's what happened. But poor Cody had to be there in the finish line waiting for this 15-minute inquiry.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So it was really an exciting race all the way around. And it just reminded me again, I'm going to try and get Larry Comas. Maybe I can get him for Radiothon. That'd be great.
It was amazing. It was an amazing race. It was really fun. I spent pretty much all day Friday. I was in Vegas over the weekend and Breeders' Cup racing and horse racing and sports books. It just calls to me, Glenn. So I'll tell you a little bit about that in a minute.
We have coming up today Tamara Williamson. She's author of Mirror Horse. She's going to tell us what inspired the book. Jamie's going to tell us all about her weekend. I had some fun over the weekend, too. We'll talk about that and some equestrian first world problems. Hang around for the post show. We'll talk about something. And I want to follow up on what Ashley and I talked about on Friday, and I didn't realize it was going to become such a thing in the auditor room. We'll go over that in the post show. But first, we have to do some daily Whinnies. Hey, we have some auditor birthdays today. Sarah, Serenity, and Marge. Happy birthday to all of you. Unfortunately, I don't have any new auditors to talk about, so if you've been thinking about it, this week would be a good week to join the auditor crew and become part of the In Club and join the auditor room where a lot of cool things happen, including talking all weekend about sets of china for some reason. I don't know why. We'll discuss that in the post show.
You get a post show and you also get access to prizes and all sorts of cool stuff. And how do they become an auditor, Glenn?
Just go to horseradionetwork.com and click on the auditor banner in the middle of the page. And that's how you do it.
Well, my daily Winnie goes out to my brother. I had the best time hanging out in Las Vegas with my brother. You know, I've got to say that for most of my life, my brother and I haven't been friends, but we've grown up now. And I got to say, I feel like I have a new family member. We went to a Braves game this summer and we went to Vegas now. It's just been an absolute blast. And he's a great uncle to my son Lucas, and I'm just really excited. I don't know, it's just really exciting. I'm so excited. My brother and I had a great time in Vegas, and I gotta say, going to Las Vegas with your brother may not sound like the most amazing trip, and I was kind of like, all right, I'm going to go see the concert. We went to go see a U2 concert and went to see the Sphere, and it was all cool, but I was like, I had a much better time than I thought I would, to be fair. And my brother is a great dude, and I may have spent some time in a sports book on Thursday. And when you're in a sports book and you're sitting down, we're in a casino that then just continues to provide you drinks for free. And I was really excited about it. So I was betting on Remington Park of all places. And that's the track here in Oklahoma. And I was like, oh, I know this place. I know these horses. I know these people. I was betting on them. I hit a couple exactas, Glenn. I was killing it, right? Killing it. I did great. But the problem is then we had to we were going to go to a movie on Thursday night in the Sphere, which, Google it. This is the most ridiculous, $2 billion it cost to create this thing. It was the most amazing
And the concert's inside of it, right? I know they do stuff on the outside of it, but
they do stuff on the outside. So like at some point, like when planes fly over, it turns into like a big eyeball, and the eyeball like looks at the plane as it's coming. Chad told me about that because he's flown into Vegas and seen it, and it's weird. So there's advertisements on it too, of course, but like it's just like there'll be a whale that's. It doesn't make sense for me to talk about it if you don't understand. So just Google the Sphere Las Vegas, and it is just this. It cost $2 billion to make, and there's lights on the outside of it. So there's like a whole show on the outside, but on the inside, there's also a whole show. And we saw a movie, and it was just like a 40-minute movie about Earth and going to just a way to show you how amazing the screen is. Like giraffes were coming on your face,
it's all
rockets
around you,
were
right?
launching.
It's not just on the front. Is it all around you? Yeah.
It's probably, I mean, the seats are behind you. So the stadium seats are behind you, but it's maybe 3/4 of the Sphere is a screen. And so the movie was going on. But the problem is I spent so much time in the sports book, and then I had to walk to the Sphere. And Glenn, it did not go well for me. I mean, I had a great time, but this is where I realized my brother's a great dude, right? So like, I'm having a hard time and I'm trying to make my way through crowds and down the streets and through the casinos. And I'm struggling a little bit. And my brother just grabbed my arm and just marched me through everything. And I noticed he kept looking back and like checking on me and making sure I'm still there. Like wouldn't let me cross the street, was like behaving very gentlemanly. Like, he is single, by the way, if anybody's interested. He likes horse chicks too. So it's fine. And so anyway, he was great. We had a great time. And then the next night was the concert, but the concert didn't start till 8. So we did a bunch of stuff and then went back to another sports book, and I behaved myself. I just got one drink, Glenn, one drink, Red Bull vodka. Okay. Just one Red Bull vodka. I was like, I'm going to get a little drink in, and I'm going to get some caffeine and energy. And my brother's like, I'll take one too. And I'm like, I got these. Do you know how much my bill was for 2 drinks?
No.
$59.
Oh my God.
For 2 drinks. I didn't even get the can.
Buy the best bottle of vodka for that.
Well, this was a sportsbook. I was like, do you guys have drink tickets? Because it was a different one. And she was like, no, we're not associated with the casino. We're an individual sportsbook, so we don't do that. And I was like, oh, I'll just get one. It'll be fine. You know, no big deal. Holy crap. I was like, that is crazy. So that we did that, and that was Friday. So I got to bet on all of the Breeders' Cup on Friday. Saturday I was traveling, but it was crazy because then on, Friday night's a concert, which was U2, and it's supposed to be like Octung Baby, the album they're playing, but I was nervous that they wouldn't play some of Joshua Tree, because this is my favorite, and they played all my favorite songs. I mean, we had a blast. The screen and behind him, like at one point,
did that distract from it, or was it a help?
No, it was great because on I mean, I'm not paying, like my tickets were crazy expensive, but the really crazy expensive ones are the really close ones. So what was cool is they broadcast the whole, like Bono and The Edge and Adam Clayton, they're like blasted up on the screen, so you can see them very clearly just on the Sphere screen. But at one point it morphs into like the ocean, and the ocean is behind them, and it literally looks like they're in front of water. There's water all around them. And at some point there's like all sorts of like sparks come shooting down, and you think you're about to catch on fire, and it's just on the screen. And at one point they had the entire city scene of Las Vegas right behind them. He mixed in a bunch of Elvis kind of like lyrics and songs.
Really?
So but yeah, just honoring the traditions of Vegas in the past. It was such a great show, a great time. The Sphere is amazing. And so I'll try to post some pictures of it so everybody can see. But I mean, if you haven't seen something like this, so it's one point, Glenn, there's a background and it's all this like art and stuff, and it starts going downwards. Well, if you're standing up and you're looking at the stage, it looks like you're about to fall backwards, because the stage and floor look like they're rising up because the backdrop's going backwards. And you know what they tell people that are up in the 400s and the seats? You're not allowed to stand up.
Oh, because
you have to remain
they get
seated.
dizzy?
Well, I had to sit down, and I was in the 100s because as the screen starts going down, you feel like you're falling backwards. So then you overcorrect and lean forward, and people were like tumbling down the aisle in the first couple of shows. Yeah, it's crazy because it's like you're vertical. It was nuts. I can't believe the sound was amazing. The concert was amazing. Bono was amazing. It was awesome. I had a great time with my brother. But the problem was we couldn't fly out of Las Vegas because remember I fly on standby and all the flights were full. So on Saturday morning, super early, like 5 a.m., 4 a.m., we had to get up, rent a car, and drive to Phoenix to then get on a flight to go home. So 5.5 hour drive.
Oh my God, to the desert.
Across the country through the desert. Yeah, it was nuts. It was definitely one of those like I'm way too old for this kind of thing. But it happened, and I made it home safe. And I rode a ton of horses yesterday, and I was just. Chad was like, "You're so motivated," and I was like, "I have to pay for my sins." I am punishing myself for my behavior over the weekend.
Well, I'm glad you had a great time. It sounds cool. It sounds like next time I go to Vegas, I definitely have to see this Sphere. No question about it.
Even just go to the movie in it is ridiculous. I mean, it was really, really something special. And again, it wasn't a great movie or anything. I don't even know what it was about.
Just shows off the
really cool scenery. At one point, there's an elephant that pretty much walks into you. It's indescribable. I can't even, it was really cool.
Well, my weekend wasn't quite as exciting, but something fun happened that I haven't done in years and years and years and years. So we weren't planning on going up to the farm this weekend, but then I got word that our tractor was going to be delivered Friday, and I said, well, let's just pack the horses up and go up Thursday and spend 3 nights there because I got to be there from the tractor. So the good news is I used Starlink for Friday morning show, and it worked perfectly. So
good.
That's good. So after we build a house and move up there, I won't have to quit the show. We can keep working.
No retirement for you.
Yeah. So, but the one thing that happened is for 3 days in a row, we rode and drove. I got to drive my pony for 3 days in a row. And it's such a cool neighborhood to drive in because it's all hard-packed sand roads and they have wide grass berms on it because it's a horsey neighborhood. It's nicer than the one to ride and drive around than the one we lived at before because there's no traffic. There's no cars at all. And it was just lovely.
Were you freaking out other horses with your horse pulling a carriage?
No, because the whole neighborhood is carriages. It's either carriages or endurance riders. That's where they go in the winter is to this neighborhood because there's a whole bunch of trails and places to drive your horse. So we saw driving horses go by all weekend. So yeah, that's not a problem at all. It was lovely. I mean, and weather was perfect. It finally got cool enough here to survive in Florida. And
Scooter's so tired now.
Oh my God!
I thought
he thought he was going to die by day 3.
What are you doing, Dad?
And there's little hills, more than we had. The other neighborhood had no hills. This has little hills, and he just thinks that's, awful, that I'm torturing him. But I think he's going to get in shape here, that's for sure. And he, it was lovely to be out there, and we had a great time, and can't wait to get, the next step is, as soon as the county gives approves, we'll have our barn put up. So we're just waiting on the county for that now. Apparently, it takes a while to get approved for all this stuff.
That should take no time at all. Government works really quick.
They charge you hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get a permit for anything you build and then take forever to approve it. And they're going to approve it because they have no reason not to. But, it's government. So we wait. But it was fun. It was fun to be out there. It was fun to drive my pony that many days in a row. I don't think he thought it was fun. I thought it was great. But he was a terrific rock star. They both were. Nigel was a rock star, and Scooter had some opportunities. Remember, he was a bolter when I first got him. He had some opportunities where, horses were in up in the field beside, or there are dogs everywhere. He doesn't care about dogs. But I got to tell you, his go-to instead of bolting, his go-to is he just stops, he gets all puffed up and looks like he did with the Black Panther, and he looks, and I'll rather have him do that, and then he walks on. It's like, okay, I'm cool now. He grew up. My Little Pony grew up.
Look at you.
He's an adult now.
Nice work.
Hey, I wanted to mention only 10 days left to get your audio entries in for Radiothon. We really need them. We've only received a few so far, and we need like 18 more to make this work. Remember that you guys are what makes Radiothon so special. It's, it's getting to listen to all of your entries and what you do for Radiothon that really makes it work. So get those entries in. Go to horseradionetwork.com/Radiothon. All right, let's hear about WERM flooring.
Okay, well, WERM flooring systems. WERM stands for We Eliminate Rubber Mats. Are you tired of dealing with nasty, heavy rubber mats? Are you looking for a more durable and easy to clean flooring solution for your trailer, barn, or other commercial or residential space? Look no further than WERM flooring systems. WERM flooring systems are non-porous, slip-resistant, cushioned, textured, safe, and seamless. They're also extremely durable and can be driven on with heavy machinery. WERM flooring helps reduce shock and fatigue, insulates trailers, and reduces road noise. Visit WERM flooring.com to learn more about WERM flooring systems and find a dealer near you. I will tell you that when I got mine installed in my trailer, they weren't an advertiser. Then I just found it, loved it, and wanted to get it. And I was concerned, like if they're going to put it on the floor, I was concerned about the edges. Like what happens if the urine runs over the edges? They've got that figured out. It actually goes like, I'm talking with my hands, but it goes out and then like up the wall a little bit. So there was no way for anything to get down in between the wall and the floor. So they've thought of everything. It's awesome. I'm so happy with mine. So there you go. That's what I love it. So you should get it.
All right. Very good. Now, hey, if you own a collegiate saddle, pay attention to this. Collegiate saddle, I noticed Equus put this out this morning, that they're having a recall of many different brands of their saddles: Degree Mono Event Saddle, the Graduate Close Contact, Honor Close Contact, Integrity Mono Dressage, Lectern Dressage, and Warwick Close Contact. If you have any of those saddles for any year, then I would go to the link we're going to put in the show notes for the collegiate saddle recall. They're being recalled, which means this is what they're doing, Jamie. You ship the saddle back, they send you a new one.
Wow.
This has got to be an expensive recall. Well, the years are listed and the serial numbers are listed. So you have to go to that link to see which serial numbers and see if your saddle applies to that. But what's been happening, they've had several instances where the top rivet securing this stirrup bar to the tree has broken, which means your stirrup can fall off at the worst possible time, and then you can fall off at the worst possible time. And this is pretty dangerous when you're talking about event saddles, right? And close contact saddles and jumping saddles. So they're actually doing replacement saddles. This has got to be one expensive error. But yeah, definitely check if you have a collegiate saddle. If you're on the list, we'll put it right in our show notes. You can find the link right there in your phone. Click on it and then go check the serial numbers and to see if yours is one of those. But don't put that off. That could be a dangerous thing. And you don't hear about saddle recalls, too. I don't know that we ever have, actually.
I've never heard of one.
Yeah, so that must mean there's something to this. Don't ignore it. And I know a lot of people in collegiate saddles. So
my Volkswagen Beetle, plenty of recalls. This one, not so much. Saddles, not so much.
Yeah. The other thing is, have you ever seen Wolf of Wall Street?
So I saw most of it this past weekend. Actually, I fell asleep, but that's what I was watching in my hotel was the edited version, which makes me a little happier because I thought it was too intense for me. That's why I never saw it at the theater, but it was like the TV version of it. And, I just can't say no to some Leo. So,
Well, you remember the house he was in the video, the big house where the parties and everything happened?
Yeah.
Well, that is an actual estate. It's in Long Island, and it's up for sale. It just hit the market, and let me tell you a little bit about it. It's a 5-acre horse property. It's equestrian property, and it has a 15,000 square foot house, and you all remember what the house looks like. It's kind of a French chateau design. It's reported to have 6 bedrooms, 7 baths, and 2.5 baths, and I think you see a lot of those in the movie. Following that, it also has a gourmet kitchen, custom cabinets, a pizza oven right in the kitchen, a wet bar, a wine cooler, has a 10 stable barn with a tack room, an apartment for a farm manager. It also has a bunch of different water things that you also see that in the movie, the fountains and all that stuff, a saltwater pool, a waterfall, a pond, all of that stuff.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So this is the guy who Leo played. This is his house.
Yes.
And did they film it in this house?
Yes, they filmed it here.
And they filmed it in his house.
No, it's not his house. They just rented this house for the movie.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so this was the movie house. Yes,
okay,
this was
gotcha.
the movie house. And for $10 million, you can have it.
Oh, I'll take 2.
But it is cool when you look at the pictures, you go, yeah, I saw that in the movie, I saw that in the movie, I saw that in the movie. Because when you look at the for sale ad, you do see all the things you saw in the movie there because they filmed the whole thing. So we can
have
there.
a house that Leo has been in.
Mm-hmm. Leo touched this house.
I'm going to start saving.
And it is a horse property. So there you go. You can have horses too. Now, having horses on Long Island, probably not cheap.
Before we go to our first guest, I want to tell you about Cosequin ASU joint and hoof pellets. They contain quality ingredients to support joint and hoof health and leave out the fillers, molasses, and alfalfa, all while still delivering the taste horses love. The colors of their ingredients shine through for a difference you can see. Visit CosequinEquine.com.
Our first guest is out of Canada. Tamara Williamson is a storyteller, musician, songwriter, producer, playwright, multimedia artist, podcaster, and equestrian.
She does it all.
She pretty much, there's nothing she hasn't done. And she has toured internationally as a musician, recording albums as a solo artist and with her band. Also, she's a lifelong horse enthusiast and equestrian coach, and she also runs a business creating music for dressage freestyle performances, which I want to talk to her a little about. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
So you grew up in England. What part?
I grew up in Putney, which is just on the outskirts, kind of southwest London, and near Surrey, which is a sort of horse country.
I know the area. And were you Pony Club? Like everybody else in England?
Yeah, and Pony Club there is, it's brilliant. It was so fun. All the mud up to our knees and little fat ponies like a Selwell cartoon. But, they teach you the right way, or the one way to sort of like not get hurt and learn all about everything. So it was a great education and a way into sort of the horse world.
And what were you doing in Pony Club? Which track were you on? Were you on dressage or eventing, or what were you doing, or a little bit of everything?
Yeah, they encourage the kids to do eventing. So you do dressage, show jumping, and cross country, and that way you're kind of like you're just educated in all of it. So that's what they sort of teach the kids that's the thing that they should be involved in, and it is great because then you get those 3 disciplines, so you're kind of covered, right?
Well, did you start music over there too when you were a kid, or did that come later in life?
Yeah, my mom sort of encouraged me to go into classical singing. The reason probably...
Okay, wait a minute. I've listened to some of your songs. I wouldn't consider them classical.
Oh, no. Yeah, that was kind of like... my early... So when I was at school, everyone was like, oh, well, at least she can sing. That was kind of what was going down because I was terrible at school. I was very dyslexic. And back then, nobody really understood. They just thought I was being lazy and disruptive and all these things. But I just couldn't really understand what was going on in class. I just didn't like telling the time took me way longer than the other kids. And I didn't understand why. So everyone was confused, but I was pretty good at singing and riding horses and swimming. Those were sort of the 3 things. So they encouraged those things. So I started singing, but then I rebelled at the age of about 15 and got into rock music, and did that quite well actually. I did quite well, as a career. So it wasn't all bad.
And you've never sung classical since, have you?
Actually, I did, and you wanted to talk about the dressage music because I did music for a dressage horse, and I wrote it all out of classical pieces, an opera chœur, And I said to her, I could actually sing this live if you ever wanted. And we did it at the Royal Winter Fair in Toronto, which is
cool.
a huge event.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had to go kind of back to school to do that, to sing the flower duet, because it's not easy singing that stuff at all. So I had to sort of go back into my training to do that.
Let's talk about, while you brought it up, let's talk about a little, and we'll get to your book, but this fascinates me too. Putting dressage freestyle performances together. So is the order of events, the rider contacts you and says, I want to do this freestyle, and they have their own ideas on music, and then you help them, or how's that work? How's the process work?
Well, I have a kind of a joke about that, because it's mainly they phone me and ask me how this all goes, and I tell them that they need to design their pattern and then send me a video of it. And then this is my joke, what generally happens is I go, do you have an idea of the music you'd like to use? And they go, no, we trust you. And then I give them, I give them some ideas, and they hate them all. And then they come back to me with their taste in music, because of course we all have different tastes, right? So we end up making the music they generally like, which is fine. And yeah, that's I edit it together almost like a movie soundtrack. So I watch them riding, and I edit the music underneath, and it sort of has to go with the rhythm of the horse, the footfalls. So the music has to be, if you're lucky, you find music that goes really well with the horse and with the taste of the rider.
See, Jamie,
it's not easy.
I thought it was the other way. I don't know what you thought, Jamie, but I thought it would have been the other way. You pick the music and then design the patterns, it's designed to test basically around the music, but it's the opposite, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I would do it, but that
just... way.
And Tamara, that just shows you he doesn't ride.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, that's funny. Yeah. I would have thought the other way. Has there been? What's the toughest part of doing that? Of designing this? Is it finding? It takes me forever to pick music for the shows. When we have to do bumpers and things, it takes me forever. I would never be able to decide on a whole freestyle test on the music, because I just get so flustered trying to pick the right one.
Yeah, well, you nailed it. It's really hard finding the music. Like, once I have the music together, I can really do it quickly. But, the music's, searching and searching. There's so much out there. And, of course, it wasn't written for a horse. So you have to search through so much to find stuff that works with the horse. That's what takes the time, yeah.
Interesting. All right, you wrote a book called Mirror Horse. What's that about?
Well, I didn't really set out knowing what I was doing. That's sort of my life right there.
Ours too.
But, yeah. I wrote down some stories about the Pony Club years, just because I thought, well, if I don't write these down, all of these memories are just, what was it for? That was how I started. So I started writing them out. And then during COVID, I reread them and thought, well, actually, this is sort of interesting. And then I just kept writing, and the book kind of takes you on a journey. When you start writing, I guess I was trying to understand a few things, like what is it all about? Like, why are we so addicted and fascinated by riding these creatures, and why are you so drawn to something that often makes you so terrified? And so I had all these questions I was terrified. I was trying to answer, and the book kind of gave me those answers and turned into this journey of, all these different experiences. And I also wanted to try and tell, I did some research, and not many people talk about the horse's experience. It's usually just the riders, but horses all have their own history and their own upbringing that they're having to deal with, not just you, the rider. So I ended up writing this kind of thoughtful forage into all of that. And, yeah.
It's interesting. I think, we've had a lot of authors on over the years, and there's not too many that have written it that way. And I read the reviews of your book on Amazon and other places, and that was the comment. The comment that was most common was, she takes you on a journey you don't expect.
Right. Well, I honestly didn't expect it either. So it was really lovely, and I felt so much better when I finished writing it. And that's another thing too that I've heard from people, is that it reminds them of their journey and their horses, and wow, what a thing it is, right? It's such a, and I also wanted to introduce other people that aren't horsey into what it is and the expertise involved and the knowledge and it's so complex, right? It's such a huge thing, the horse world, and we all become experts, really. Like, there's so much to know, and you never stop learning, and all those things. So, yeah, I loved writing it. I really did.
You picked a couple of things in your life that aren't the easiest. You talk about it not being easy. You picked being a musician and the horse world, two of the things that are really difficult.
Why do you think they're difficult?
Well, I think being a musician and actually succeeding at it's difficult. It's a lot of work. Horse world, same thing, right? I mean, you have a habit of picking those things.
Yeah, I guess you have to, in your life, define what success is. Like, I war with that all the time. Like, and I think success to me in the end was music. Was writing music that I was really proud of. That I could stand up on the highest hill and go, no, I really think this is a great song. I would beat myself up over the ones I didn't think were, like, for, and so with the horses, it was like, with the book, I just, honestly, getting published by a major publisher was such a pat on the back for me. But more than that, I think just being able to write a book as a very dyslexic person who didn't get through high school, it was never about how clever I was, but they certainly made me feel like I wasn't clever at school, right? Because that's what it feels like when you're failing at school. You feel like you must be stupid. So writing a book that got published, was really, really meant a lot. But just understanding why I'd done that whole journey was good.
Did you send a signed copy to all the naysayers and with like a middle finger drawn on the inside cover with your signature? I wouldn't.
I didn't even think of that.
She just
probably should have.
She's ordering a case of books for this Christmas right now.
There's still time. Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Here's your special signed copy just from me. I love that, Jamie. That's our kind of.
Do what I say, not what I do.
Well, it is the holidays coming up, and this would make a great gift. Where can people find the book?
In America, well, it just got published in America in the middle of October. So it'll be, I'm not sure how much it went into those little mum and pop bookstores, but you can order it from those stores, and it's nice to support them, I guess, because that's a hard journey.
Right.
But it should be in Chapters and all those places, and it's on Amazon if that's the way you like to shop. So it should be all over the place.
And you did the audiobook too, did I see?
Yeah. Oh my God.
How was that
the hardest
to read?
thing I've ever done.
People think that's easy. It's not easy, is it?
It's honestly, I put my outtakes, a few of them, on my website because it's got me just swearing like a sailor. Like it's the hardest thing. Sometimes I couldn't get through a sentence without making some kind of flub, and it's just so hard. hard, but I did it in the end, but I wouldn't recommend it.
We have a
Not
friend.
unless you're getting paid a lot of money.
One of our friends who hosts a different show does books for Trafalgar Square. She does the horse books and the sciencey ones and all that stuff. And I was talking to her the one day, and she said, "Yeah, this and of course Audible. If you want to be on Audible, they demand. I mean, it has to be top quality. So you
Right.
have to do it right, or you're not getting on Audible, which is where you need to be." And she also says the same thing. She said, "Yeah, it's tough. It takes a lot longer than you expect it would."
Yeah, it was excruciating, really. But of course, because I'm a musician, I wanted to make it really more than just me reading. So I put in little hoof sounds and horses whinnying and then I put some of my music, at the end of the chapters. I thought, I'll throw in a song here and just make it nice for people if they're listening. So it just became this labor of love, but really just the reading part was really, it's very, very difficult. You don't realize how, as you get older, you start to get lazy. You start to slur a bit or not pronounce things properly. But when you're listening to yourself on headphones, you can sure hear it, and it's just awful.
Well, I will tell you that there is no part of me that ever listens to this podcast. So I get you, girl.
Yeah, we don't. I am getting older, and I mispronounce everything. So I'm with you. We're right there.
Tamara, what I love about you is just from what I've gleaned from this is just your honesty. I just love your innate honesty that you have kind of going into everything. And it's been a delight talking to you and having you on the show.
Well, thanks so much. It was really great.
We appreciate it.
Any help to get the book out there. It's really difficult these days because the world is a very noisy place, right?
Well, it's called Mirror Horse. If you want to find it, she said, we'll put a link to your website as well. And also you can find it on Audible. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. And good luck with the book.
Thanks so much.
This podcast is sponsored by Purina Animal Nutrition, with 3 research-backed ration balancers to fill nutritional gaps in your horse's diet. Enrich Plus delivers a concentrated source of protein, vitamins, and minerals without unnecessary calories. Enrich Plus Senior features Active Age prebiotic technology and Outlast supplement for aging easy keepers. Omega Match is rich in omega-3 fatty acids and vitamin E, great for horses without access to green grass, like my scooter. Find a ration balancer for your horse at purinamills.com/ration balancers or visit your local feed store. And it's time.
It's time for the weekly look at your equestrian first world problems. This ought to be good.
That's right. It's time for your equestrian first world problems. And those are problems that our listeners actually have. They're very sad, very emotional. And I don't know how we get through it. How do we have horses, Glenn? I mean, it's exhausting. So these are usually on Sunday mornings or Sunday afternoons or evenings. I put up a post on the Auditor Facebook page asking for people to submit their tragic equestrian first world problems, and people fill it out. Now, if you want to participate in this, you have to become an auditor. So how do they do it, Glenn?
Just go to horseradionetwork.com, scroll down the middle of the page, you'll see an auditor banner, and for as little as $3 a month, you too can tell us your first world problems.
That's right. So we're going to start with Lila right now because she included a photo of hers, and it says, she says, I had to use my clean truck as a truck. And there's like hay in the bag and all this. And you notice a theme with that today, which is like, it was clean, so now I don't want to use it, which makes me think we don't ever clean things. So when we do, it's like, oh my God, don't use it because it's clean.
I know how she feels, though, because when you get a brand new truck and you scratch the bed for the first time, it's like, oh, my God. And then, 10 years later, your bed looks like a war zone. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, here's the thing about, I don't think I ever told you the story. We have this dually that is great. We've had it for several years, but, it was hail damaged when we got it. So the pressure was off as far as like.
When it has 1,000 little dents, you don't worry so much.
I didn't care. Like, whatever. It's a work truck. I mean, it's pulling the horse trailer and all that. But one day we were having some function here at the house, and Chad was just in like the worst mood. My husband just in the worst mood. I was like, what is your problem? What are you doing? He's like, can you come outside with me for a second? Okay, fine. Just stop being such a jerk. I walk outside. I'm like, oh my God. He ran into the fence, just turned and ran into the fence. And so now the entire right side where he just forgot he had a dually. So like that whole second wheel well that pops out.
Which sticks out about 3 feet.
It's just crushed. It's just, but it doesn't affect the tires.
Did you bother
and I was
getting it fixed?
Hell no. I'm like, and the cool thing is he did it. You did it. I didn't do it. You did it. So it's great all the time. Like if I do something or I hit something, like in my brand new car, I backed into my mother-in-law and father-in-law's trash can and like clunked it. And I was like, oh, sorry. Oh, it's not as bad as when you wreck the dually into the fence. I use that all the time. Anyway.
Speaking of clean trucks, we live, the new place is on the sand hard pack road. But when it doesn't rain for a while, it gets super dusty. So our cars will never be clean again. Because why bother washing the sand off when they're just going to get sandy again?
Pressure's off, man.
Yep.
Pressure's
that's right.
off.
I thought about it the other day. I thought I should wash my car. It looks so terrible. And it's like, well, then I'll just have to wash it again next week.
So 3 separate times I've had to yell at my child because he thinks it's hilarious to write wash me in my back window. And I'm like, that's not okay. Oh, it's not okay.
Wait till he gets older. He'll be writing other things.
Well, it's okay. You know what I said? You want to wash it? Wash it. You do it. And he hasn't written it since then. Lindsay says, which by the way, huge, ginormous, heartfelt congratulations to Lindsay Pierce. She is pregnant and her first world equestrian problem surrounds this. And let me just tell you, Lindsay, this is just the first of a long string of equestrian first world problems that are in your future. She says, I'm pregnant. Yay. But I can't decide which of the adorable pictures of my horse to use as a pregnancy announcement. And it's a picture of her horse with like, it's so cute and congratulations. But yes, this is only the beginning. Adrian says, she also included a picture, lots of pictures today. She's in a beautiful blue dress with her very handsome debonair looking husband in his Marine Corps outfit, uniform, dress uniform. I don't know Marine lingo. She says, I spent what was probably the last nice weekend at a Marine Corps birthday ball instead of riding my horse.
You know that feeling.
I do. Let's see. The next one is Carrie. I'm working on my shopping list for Equine Affair this week, but my horses don't really need anything. Go in with the guise of I'm Christmas shopping, and then you're like, one for me, one for them, one for me, one for them. That's how I do Rolex Land Rover. Jessica says, my horse, and she lives in Florida, and she has her horse that she adopted from Horse and Hound. And she says, my horse grew the darkest, prettiest winter coat, but we live in Florida. Now I have to clip it all off. Christiana says, when your gelding decides that his shoes are made for walking, like walking right out of them, I am so tired of having to play the game of hide and seek the horseshoe.
And the bigger your pasture, the longer that game lasts.
Yeah, it just lasts forever. Kelly says, I had to go to an awesome horse conference and hang out with another auditor, Jennifer, in San Antonio, which was life-changing and super awesomely fun. But I missed my horse's smooshy face for 4 days.
I wonder if that was the Warwick Schiller one, because I heard a lot of good things about it. Yeah,
I did too. Lisa says,
he's a guy who we haven't had on in a long time. His podcast is really popular now. Yeah.
I love watching his videos. I think he's great.
Yeah.
Lisa says, my little monkey pony has got an amazing jump on him. And there's a picture of her horse with like his knees up to his withers, jumping over the tiniest little jump, but he's clearing it. My little monkey pony has got an amazing jump on him, but I don't jump anymore. I only do dressage. Lisa's coming out of retirement, y'all.
Yeah.
Lindsay says a different Different Lindsay says, it's not horsey, but it's still first world. I have been craving chili, but this Georgia weather went back up in the mid-70s, and now it's too hot to make chili, and the ingredients are just sitting on the shelves taunting me. Do you know what I have to do tonight, Glenn?
What do you have to do?
I am going to a chili cook-off.
Oh, and I've always wanted to be a judge.
I may or may not be participating. I told the school, it's Lucas's school, and they're doing like a chili cook-off fundraiser thing. And
well, you can't be a judge. There's too much meat involved.
I can't be a judge, but I'm going to participate. And I said, here's the thing. I was like, I'm going to make vegetarian chili. But there's something I always tell Lucas when I make dinner, because I don't taste it usually, but I'll make vegetarian chili. And I said, it may be awesome. This may be awesome. And he'll go, or it may taste like dog food. And I'm like, yes, exactly. And now he's got a ranking system of food, like, because we know that like horse food tastes better than dog food, but dog food tastes better than cat food. Oh, so he'll be like, it's horse food, or he'll be like, oh God, this is cat food. You know? So we like judge cooking. So I told his teacher, I was like, Lucas, go in and tell your teacher that I'm going to make chili. I may or may not bring it, because why? He goes, because it may be good and it may taste like dog food. Like, tell your teacher that. Make sure you tell her. So
I do have a good vegetarian chili recipe too.
Yeah,
I love chili of all kinds. We've gone to a lot of chili cook-offs, but I'm throwing it out to the universe. If there's anybody out there that wants a judge, I always wanted to judge at a chili cook-off. It's on my bucket list. So,
well, you can come judge at Lucas's school. It's chili cook-off cornbread night. I'm not making cornbread, but I am going to attempt to make chili and may or may not submit it. We'll see. Rhonda says, now that I'm home from my 2-week vacation, I have COVID and I can't see my horses. Sorry, Rhonda. We're not laughing at you. We're laughing with you. But don't laugh because it'll make you cough. Amy says, my mother, oh God, this is so something my mother would have done. Amy says, my mother decided to start our lovely 7-day cruise to Alaska with perfect sunny weather by rolling her eyes. We were discussing physical therapy. And I said, well, equestrians are athletes. And she just rolled her eyes. Amy, I would lose it. Like, you get on a horse. I like, my brother, horses do all the work. Okay. Let me tell you, my equestrian first world problem is I was in Vegas all weekend. So I rode 4 horses yesterday and I can't walk.
Sort of like Scooter today. He can't walk either.
Yeah, exactly. And the poor Scooter. He had to actually do all the work.
Well, he had to pull my fat butt around. That is one thing about carriage driving is you yourself don't get any exercise. That is a problem with carriage driving.
Yeah. Well, get off your butt.
I mean, when I get older, it's going to be a benefit of carriage driving. But now I actually have to go walk separately to get any exercise.
Well, hooking up is hard. No, it's not, dear.
There's a lot of straps, but after a while, you get to know where those go to.
Okay, I'll do two more. Right. Jacqueline says, my students and I took 7 horses to the Virginia horse trials this weekend, and all 7 horses finished in the ribbon. But guess what? They ran out of ribbons. So now we have to wait in the mail for them, and we couldn't get our group ribbon picture.
How do you run out of ribbons at a horse show? That's kind of planned ahead of time.
Oh, I didn't know all these horses would get ribbons. Oh, you give ribbons to like 10. Yes, you did.
Yeah, you kind of knew how many classes. You can multiply it out.
You know how many people signed up. Anyway, they're lame. All right, so then Leah, our winner for the day. The new barn and indoor I moved to is so much warmer than my old barn, but I'll never get to use the cute new quarter sheet that I bought. I'm going to hit you. All right. That's your equestrian first world problems for the week. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for submitting them. I didn't get to all of them because there were so many of you with so many issues this week, and I'm so sorry. But everybody have a wonderful wonderful week.
And you're here all
hopefully-
week, right? You're here Wednesday and Friday.
I'm here all week. I will not be here next week because I am doing
Well, you're
something
here Monday
super
next
cool.
week, right?
I'm here Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wednesday and Friday, I'm going to head to New York to hang out on the red. Well, I'm not going to be on the red carpet, but I'm going to the documentary, The Cowboy and the Queen. There's a premiere of it in New York City. So I'm going with Monty and Pat and Debbie, and we're going to watch it. And
do
I
you
do
have
believe
to get all dressed up in your finest, like, fancy outfit?
I do. So I wore that birthday that I bought a new dress and heels that I wore to my birthday dinner that Chad took me on. And Debbie was like, you have to wear that. And I'm like, oh, it's New York. It's going to be so cold and I don't want to wear heels, but I'll do it. I'll do it for the cause.
I just got an email during the show today. Funny you bring that up because I just got an email during the show from Sarah Maslin-Nier, who has been on our show, the author. And she is actually the MC of the panel after the movie.
Yeah, there's going to be a cool panel afterwards with Monty and Sarah and lots of people. By the way,
say hi to Sarah for me.
I will. I do know that there's some listeners going, and I was just made aware that there may be some tickets available.
There is, actually, and Sarah mentioned that. They're $20. And do you want me to put a link in the show notes for the tickets?
Yeah, that would be great. And also, I may have a free ticket or two. So email me, jamie@horseradionetwork.com, or just go on and buy the tickets and support the cause. So either way.
All right,
hopefully
very good.
see somebody there.
I'll put the link in the show notes. If you want to get tickets, they're like $20. Sarah gave me the link. So that'll be great. I can't wait to hear your review of how the movie went.
I'm going to probably cry through the whole thing.
Because this is a documentary about him. This is a real documentary about his life, right?
So Debbie explained it to me. So basically what it is,
I'm confused.
It's a documentary about his relationship with the Queen. And what they do is they kind of parallel, like they go through Monty's life and then they go through the Queen's life and they kind of parallel the two.
Cool.
Like, it sounds just incredibly awesome. And I know if he's involved, it's going to be great because they wouldn't let something, if you recall, he was asked to be the trainer in The Horse Whisperer and he said no, because they have an affair. It's like nefarious relationship. But he was like, I don't want to be involved in that. So, it's going to be good if he's signed on to it and he's an integrity times a million. So I'm really excited to see it. I'm just excited to go, and I'm not excited to wear heels. So there you go.
All right. Let's wrap it up tomorrow. We will have the American Horse Council episode later in the week, the NRHA. And as Jamie said, if you want to get we'll do some really bad ads this week. We didn't last week, but we'll get them in this week. So get your entries into Jennifer at horseradionetwork.com. Auditors, hang on. We'll have a quick chat after the show.
Talk to you Wednesday, Spade Neuter Guild.